How are you, Mr. Wood?
I'm good, Mrs. Fusco. How are you?
Hanging in there. We're doing it. Last one. Last but
Hey,
certainly not least.
of course. And I'm doing it from the classroom so they can get
I
a
was going
bird's
to
eye
say,
view of the classroom.
so pumped. All right, let's do this. Let's talk about your program, and I'd love a tour if you're willing.
Yeah, no, definitely. Let's get some of the logistics out first.
Yeah.
I'm Tom Wood. I teach the plumbing and HVAC class here at Potter. And, we come in, we do a lot of hands-on stuff, and we get a lot of book work in, and, we learn a lot. We don't just do, we do a little bit of everything. We don't just do plumbing and work on furnaces and air conditioners. We work with wiring. We do some electrical. We do some welding, some soldering. We do all kinds of different stuff. So it's not just one specific trade. We do a variety of different things.
Right. Well, and you get to work on the house as well.
Yes. So here at Potter, they build a house for Habitat for Humanity. That basically pretty much gets donated for the most part. We go out there, we do the plumbing in there, and then we also get it. How Mr. Merlino was just complaining about how cold it gets when they do the wiring. And well, we get the temporary heat over here at Potter, and we get them a little warmer, so they're not whining about it.
Yeah, you guys are the saviors of the house.
Exactly, because we got to keep them comfortable.
Right. So, what are some? Do you want to talk about specific topics that are covered in your class?
Hey, you're running the show, so I'm here to answer your questions.
Let's roll with it. What do you get to cover?
So, this time I do have a few projects that the students that have done in the class.
Yeah, let's see.
One of them is a soldering project.
Mm-hmm.
And what they do is they solder all the fittings on. They learn how to solder the right way. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that I go through and I put water in it, and I let them hold it when I turn the water on. So if they get wet, they have leaks, and it's not good. Mm-hmm. Once everything's all done and graded, they drill a few holes in it, and then you take it home and then you use it as a sprinkler.
Nice.
So yeah, that's one of the projects. Now we're getting into the newer stuff, which is instead of using copper in a lot of homes, people are using a lot of PEX nowadays.
It's what?
This is PEX, PEX.
Yep. Okay.
So this is a new form of running the water lines in your house, and so the students get to work with this. And this is a lot easier, a lot less work involved in this. The day and age is how quickly we can get things done nowadays with the trades, and this is one of the easier ways of doing it.
Yeah.
It's blue is for cold and the red's for hot. It makes it real simple for people. So they also have to learn how to do the drain, waste, and vent in your house. So the drain, waste, and vent is usually now done in PVC pipe, and they learn how to clean it and glue it. So the purple stuff, if you walk through your basement in your house and you have the white pipe for your drains, mm-hmm. The purple stuff has to be shown. If inspector or if I can't see it, that means that you didn't clean it properly. So it has to be cleaned with this purple stuff first, and then it can be glued and put together. So it's a few.
So the purple stuff isn't the glue?
No, the glue is actually clear. The purple stuff is just a cleaner or a primer, they call it.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah. One of the newer things that they're doing, and I just have a couple of samples of this, and this is going to be a new tool that we're going to be getting, I believe, within the next couple of months. This is a new style of PEX, and this it just expands the PEX over the fitting. So if I pull up this other one, where you see those metal clips in there?
Yeah.
So those are cinch rings. These here, there's no more metal that's involved in it. And what it does is the tool expands the PEX, and then you push the fitting over top in it, and it shrinks down on top of it. So it's a lot nicer, neater way of doing the PEX. And it's a lot easier, too. Tool's expensive, but we're getting one.
So is the plumbing industry and HVAC industry moving away from metal pipes and metal fittings and metal?
Oh, there's still going to be a need for it. They're still going to have metal something. There's a lot of houses in Western New York, around the world, that still use copper and galvanized. This is just, the PEX is just getting into more of today's day and age, where things do change, but you know, in my house, I have a mixture of galvanized, I have a mixture of copper, and I have a mixture of PEX. So I have everything in my house. Do I want to
Right.
eventually change it all over? Yeah. I just don't have time because I'm a teacher that works a million hours a week.
Well, and it's a huge endeavor to do that in a house by yourself, no less.
Oh, yes, it is. It is. But that's why I have 4 kids.
You got to invest now.
Exactly. So another thing is you just asked about metal in the HVAC industry. Well, here's some sheet metal. So this is a project that they will make. They'll cut it out. They'll put the X's in it. They'll make the top. They'll cut the pipe. They'll cut the hole in the metal to put the pipe in. And this is just something that'll benefit, you know, just as you'll see when we do our tour, you'll see that the students will be making plenums and certain things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. So you were like hands-on.
Oh yes, oh yes. We have a wooden structure here in the classroom. It's a little messy, but you'll get to see a little bit of it. They go through. They'll run the drain, the waste, the venting on it, the hot water, the cold water line. And guess what? I put water on. I turn water on. I pressurize it to see if there's any leaks.
Nice.
So we hook up vanities, the toilets, kitchen sinks, everything we do in here for the plumbing aspect of it.
Right. So it sounds like everyone's ready to go out into the workforce if they want once they graduate.
Pretty much. Majority of my students go right out into the industry and work. They go to college. If they do well on their internship in their senior year, majority of them, they will end up with a job before they graduate.
Mm-hmm. So they could go on to their do college programs too with your articulations, but that doesn't mean that they have to. They could go right into the workforce.
Correct. Yes. So we do have 3 colleges that we do have articulation agreements with, but they can actually go out and start working right out of class, right as soon as they graduate.
Right. And so necessary, like wildly necessary. What does the job market look like in 2020 for plumbing and HVAC and all of that good stuff?
There's a huge need. There is a need for the trade. There will always be a need for heating. I mean, you need, in Western New York, how are you going to heat your house if you don't have a furnace?
Right.
I mean, there are other supplements, you know, wood burners and things like that, but everybody needs some sort of heat. You need water lines to run water so you can wash your hands, take a bath, whatever, cook. You're going to need, if you have gas lines running to your house, plumbers or even HVAC guys, heating guys, can go through and do cut and thread and fix gas lines. So there's so many different things that we can do, but the need is unbelievable. There is such a huge need.
Every like traditional skilled trade teacher that we have has said that there is a huge deficit in people coming into the industry versus people leaving and retiring. Well, specifically retiring from the industry now. So we're going to have a big gap and a lot of openings, right?
Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, for the longest time, I'm 40 something years old. I'm 46 years old. And when I was still in the industry in my 30s, I was still considered one of the youngest ones in the field. So, you know, a lot of the old timers are moving, they're retiring. But the younger kids, there's not a lot of younger kids that are getting into it. And that's what we need. We need some that are willing to work, show up to work on time, being able to think quickly on their own in a heartbeat when they're doing things. But that's why it is with any job or any trade, really. You got to be able to go through, think on your feet, and be able to get to work and be able to take initiative.
Right. Absolutely. Well, and to be able to feel confident about what you're doing too, right? So
yeah,
that's equally as important.
Yes.
So in your class, we saw some projects. Does your junior year look much different than your senior year? Are they kind of the same?
They're very, very similar. This junior year is mostly a lot more of that's hands-on. They have a little bit more time to do projects. But when it gets to the senior year, they redo a lot of the projects, but it has to be at a faster pace. And we get more into the nuts and bolts, the reason why you have to do it this way, get more into the electrical end of things and trying to really get things running the way they need to run.
Right, the nitty gritty.
Yes, exactly.
So you have a question. What are entry-level work what's entry-level work look like after high school?
If they graduate from my program and they go out into the industry and they start working for a company, majority of the time, I don't know if it's 90%, but majority of the time when they get a job, they are a install helper, we'll say. So they'll start off as like an HVAC industry, in the heating and cooling industry. They will start off as a helper doing installs, whether it's a furnace install, furnace and air conditioner, an air conditioner install, things like that. New builds, new construction, but that's also the same for plumbing also. So there are a lot of jobs that are out there for entry level. It's just getting the one that individual likes the most.
Can you, okay, so we didn't talk about this last week. I'd like to ask you now, what is the main difference? I know you teach both, but what's the main difference between being in HVAC or being a plumber? Is there one?
Oh, there is one. So we'll get up here a little bit. So as I show you here, okay. So these are the furnaces in the classroom. So as you see on this one right here, okay, you got the plenum. This is the plenum, which is the metal that's on top. Okay, so HVAC stands for heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Okay.
So HVAC is primarily working on the equipment, installing the equipment that has to do with heating or cooling your home. Okay. So plumbing, the difference with that is we got a little bit of a wooden structure here. It's a little bit of a mess up there because we kind of had to leave in a hurry. But and they're also still in the middle of doing it. They're going through. They're doing the drain, the waste, the vent. This week when they're going to get started. Here's a tankless water heater here. They're going to get started on doing the hot and cold water so that everything has, so we can run water through the structure. Mm-hmm. So plumbing is more of the water end of things, okay, where HVAC or heating and air conditioning is more on let's heat or cool your house.
Cool. But I can definitely see how they would kind of go hand in hand too.
Oh yes, there's a lot of the companies out there do heating and cooling and plumbing, so they do all of them. Mm-hmm. Here's a little line of equipment in the room.
So those are all air conditioners?
Yep, those are all air conditioners in the middle here.
Yep.
And then on the outsides, you got all your furnaces over there and over here.
Very cool. So kids really get to learn how to install, how to fix, all of those things, and they're right in there. Now I'm not encouraging anyone to go tinker with the things in their home. However, if they were to break, a student maybe at the end of their senior year could at least maybe assess what's wrong.
Yeah, oh definitely. I actually have one of my seniors this year. Maybe about a month or so ago. It was before Thanksgiving, and he was having problems with his furnace at home. And I said, okay, fine. When you leave here today, go home because seniors are in the morning. When he went home, said, all right, call me or I'll just shoot me a text. I'll FaceTime you and I'll talk you through it.
Yeah.
I asked him questions and it led for him to fix the furnace.
See, there we go.
So, yes, exactly. So there's some new equipment that we got over here. Mm-hmm. We got some new furnaces and new air conditioners this year. We got 8 new furnaces, 8 new air conditioners, a bunch of new, I don't know, not a lot of people get excited for this, but a bunch of new toilets. Hey. Some new vanities. And again, we're trying to get some new tools in here. But if you see this white thing above me?
Yes.
That is a ductless air conditioner.
Your room has air conditioning?
Well, what do I teach? Ms. Fusco, what do I teach? My classroom does have air conditioning. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of things. I mean, here's the outdoor unit. Mm-hmm. So this actually ductless air conditioner does heating also. It's a heat pump is what they call that.
Oh, interesting. So you could, so in theory, could you install that into a home that has like hot water heat?
Absolutely.
And not air ducts?
Correct.
Very cool. See, I know this much. I know just enough to ask a question or two. But that's all I know.
Well, I have a family room that was added on into my house. And one of the things I've been really contemplating, my heating is fine. I have a gas insert fireplace. It does have a vent where it blows air into it, but I've been really contemplating about putting one of those in for air
Yeah.
conditioning. Cool it a little bit better.
Yeah, and probably more efficient. You guys talk a lot about efficiency, and you get into like the finance of it all and the
Yeah.
costs.
So one of the things that we do is, we go through efficiency. I have both 80% efficient furnaces, which is the lowest that is able to be made as per the government. And we
Oh,
also have up to 95, 96% efficient furnaces. So yes, we talk a difference about the efficiencies, things, those things, the cost difference. I let them go through, do some research. Okay, what's the cost of the 80% efficient? What's the cost of this 95% efficient furnace? And let's see what we can do with coming up with, hey, you be the salesman. You teach me. You're trying to sell me that furnace and air conditioner. Let's figure this out
yeah,
and work them through it.
I love that. So when your students are doing projects, do they get to work individual on their own, or are they working in a group? What type of work do they do?
Both. Both. It's both. So a lot of these little projects I held up in the air, those are all individual projects. But when it gets to working on a furnace, air conditioner, things like that, or even in the wooden structure when they're doing the plumbing, those are all group projects. So with having a good sized class, I got to put them in groups. So the furnaces and air conditioners that you saw that are together, those are those are the seniors. So their job this year was, well, because this year's a little different, but the first project that the students do when they come in on their senior year is, hey, okay, yep, remember me? I'm Mr. Wood. Hi, how are you? All right, now let's get that furnace up and running. Let's get that air conditioner hooked up. Get that ductwork put on. Get the gas line cut and threaded. Run the electric from the breaker box to the furnace. The flue pipe. Need to make sure that we exhaust this stuff, so we make sure that we get everything all set and done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you said flue pipe, so let's talk safety. What type of safety things do students either need to bring with them or be cognizant of in your class? Anything specific?
Of course. I'm trying to dig through here. 6-in-1 screwdriver, very important. They need to bring this. I supply the first set of safety glasses. Work gloves. Work gloves are very important, especially with working on the sheet metal. You can cut yourself. When you're soldering, you can burn yourself. Work boots. They don't have to be steel toe. They can be just work boots. Pair of jeans, preferably without any holes, because you know how a lot of kids are nowadays. They like to have holes in their jeans.
Hey, I got some holes in my jeans. I'm stylish.
I have a couple of pair too, and my kids get embarrassed by it.
But I'm not going to come solder in them.
No, that's good to know.
Yeah.
But that's mainly the most important things.
Yeah. And so like a leather work boot, not necessarily a steel toe.
Nope, just a regular leather work boot.
Cool. And obviously there's no running in the shop, all that stuff. But I think it is cool to say we saw your room, and I don't get to say it enough, but that's your classroom. Like that is the room that you as a student walk into, and that is your classroom. Like it's a shop.
Yep, this is my shop. This is my classroom. You see the desk? Don't ignore my desk. It's a little messy. But this is what I look at every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice because if I'm going through and I'm teaching the kids something and they're not getting it because I'm standing up here, all right, come on, let's go over to this. Let's go over to this furnace. Let's go over to the plumbing show. Let's go over to a vanity or the kitchen sink. Then it's easier for me to say, okay, let's just get up and walk over here, versus where some of the other classes, they have to get up, walk down the hall, or go into another room. I have it all right here. Okay, let's go look at it. Okay, now let's come back. Now, yeah, we got it, Mr. Wood. We understand.
Yeah. Well, there's something, Mr. Merlino and I were talking about the same thing. There's math and science involved, and the word math scares people. It scares me. I was not good at math in high school, but, when you have a visual, when it's applied math, it's completely different. It's a whole different ballgame than doing it on paper. And I think that's the benefit of our program, is that some students that are not like mathematically, scientifically inclined, or don't feel that they are, can come to our program and manipulate those things and realize that they can do these things in the right setting.
Right. You know, the math for the HVAC and the, you know, HVAC and plumbing both, the hardest thing is learning how to use a tape measure, which that's one of the things that they need to bring with them.
A tape
Learning how to
measure.
read a tape measure. A
Mhm.
tape measure is a very important tool. If you're not able to read it right, guess what? We're going to be spending a lot of time here so that they know how to read a tape measure.
Right, because it's a necessity.
Oh, absolutely. You need to make sure that you're measuring that pipe right or measuring that sheet metal right so it fits right.
Right.
But also math, a lot of the simple math, especially in HVAC, if you're, you know, out doing service calls, adding and subtracting.
Mhm.
That is the most hardest. A lot of the other stuff that we teach you is, you know, like sizing a furnace or calculating heat runs. That's all easy stuff. But guess what? I have these cheater charts floating around here that you end up getting one.
Mhm.
So I try to make it simple, easy. But the most important thing, well, two most important things that we do is we're safe and we're having fun.
I love that. Because truly, that's like every CTE program. I wish more people knew about them, so I'm happy we're doing this. We have some questions, though. Um,
Cool.
two questions. So, what is your average class size? And the second one is the daily tools that you need, do they stay in the classroom at the shop, or do you bring them back and forth every day?
So let's go. What was the first one again?
Average class
Was
size.
the average size? So this is my fourth year of teaching. Um, Sixth year on the program. When I first got started teaching, it was rather on the small side. Now this year I have 17 seniors and 26 juniors. So the size of the
So that's a
classes
big
are
class,
increasing.
yeah.
Yeah, they are increasing. They are getting big. Um, but it's things move a little bit faster, a little bit smoother the more kids you have. But you know, it's exciting for me because I got 26 kids that want to learn this.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great. I have a lot of passion for this, and I really want to push all my knowledge that I have in this bald head of mine and push it on all these little kids to go through, you know, all these younger people to
Yep.
go through and learn this.
Right.
The tool wise, the only couple of tools that they need to make sure that they have every day is their 6-in-1 screwdriver, and a tape measure. A normal school year, without COVID, there are lockers in the classroom that they can leave stuff here
Mm-hmm.
when they're, you know, in between where, you know, when they come back and forth from their homeschool. But I do have a school room that is a little bit, again, probably messy because we left in a hurry. It is a lot messy, but we do have a bunch of tools right there, hand tools.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. You're holding your mouth because my tool room's a little messy.
No, I had an itch.
Uh, so we do have a lot of tools in here. You know, we do have some more. And then again, like I said, I ordered more. I'm looking to get some more here soon.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, the moral of the story is the tools, there are very few that the students need themselves because they're probably using constantly. Like that tape
Yep.
measure is going to get used a million times per class. Same with
Yep.
the 6-in-1 screwdriver. But all the other things are there to be used, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
They're supplied.
Yep. Yep. They're supplied. They're here. And if they're broken, usually we try to get them fixed right away or replaced, and we kind of go from there.
Mm-hmm. Man, so there's my last question I ask everyone. So what is a trait that a student could bring to your class that's going to make them successful?
It's, you know, I heard you ask Mr. Merlino this, and it's, you know, it's a good attitude, willing to learn, willing to work hard. The math, the science piece, like Mr. Merlino, that's all well and good, but you know what? You're going to learn that here. You'll get better here. And it's just a matter of, you know, just a great attitude, willing to work with other people and having some fun.
Yep, exactly. I keep saying we're kind of like the anti-typical classroom. Because with COVID and everything, you know, everything's online, and then you come in and you're kind of doing stuff at your home school. I'd assume that you're doing similar things to what you're used to, desk and blah blah blah. But here, you walk into a shop that is your room, and you get going, and you get to manipulate stuff with your hands, and learn things you're not going to learn in English class or social studies and things like that. So it is a really cool experience, and I hope that if all of this is still going on. I hope it's not, but if it is, I hope that our students look at it as an exciting part of their day and an exciting option to kind of change up what they're used to.
Right. One thing I don't do is I don't normally on a daily basis, I don't give a lot of homework, but now with this whole COVID thing, students are getting a lot of the nuts and bolts of the stuff out of the way when they're at home, and when they come in, they're working. Their hands, they're touching something. They're working on something. Like I said, they're starting to work on going through getting the hot and cold water lines in the wooden structure up and running and done
Right.
as soon as possible. So we're always doing something every day, no matter what. Normal school day, normal school year. Every day they're putting their hands on something and touching something and doing something.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is just a cool opportunity. CTE is cool. I'm biased.
It
But
is.
it's cool.
Yeah, I wish that this program was here. It would have saved me a lot of money, because I really wish that this program was here when I was going through high school, because I sure as heck would have done it.
Absolutely. So it should be said that HVAC, plumbing and HVAC is only at Potter, and there's only one class. So if a student is really interested in spending junior and senior year with Mr. Wood at Potter, to talk to your guidance counselor and get it put in your schedule sooner than later. There's no application, there's no entrance interview for our CTE programs. It's just first come, first serve. So make sure you're on that list early. Other than that, Mr. Wood, that's just about our 30 minutes.
What the heck, man? It flew by this time.
Man, I know. What do you mean this time? Well, Mr. Wood, thank you so much for sharing your classroom and being at Potter so we could see everything that you have going on there and telling us all about plumbing and HVAC.
Hey, I'm glad I could do it. I was ecstatic that I was able to get in the classroom tonight so that we can go through and do this, because I think it's a lot better to see what's actually going on compared to that video I showed you last time.
Well, for sure. It's always nice to see what's actually going on. It's easier to talk about.
Exactly. And like I always tell you, Mrs. Fusco, come on down, hang out with me for a day. I'll teach you how to do some soldering, so the next time your hot water tank goes out, you can do it yourself instead of calling me.
No, I'll still call you.
Probably. Yeah.
All right, Mr. Wood, thanks. Have a nice night.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. All right.